Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night. Whenever you're watching this, I am Peter. I'm a real estate photographer based in Sweden, in the south of Stockholm. And today I'm going to show you a little different approach on blending my ambient files to prepare them for a blend with flash and ambient. I'm going to make this with a little more manual control. I'm going to create the luminosity masks manually at first and then go over to Lumenzia that will help us create them, and I will use some actions as well later on. So I have some images here and I hope this will be fun. So let's go. So here I have a kitchen of a shot. Kitchen of a shot. It's a shot of a kitchen that I took. I guess it's in the early winter here in Sweden. Nice and bright, high ceiling, nice beams. I usually shoot my images with 3 ambient files bracketed. So I have my base, I have my dark, and I have my light. And then I shoot a couple of flashes, one from behind the camera, one from the right, and one from the left usually. And then depending on how the room is set up, I maybe shoot some other flashes as well, and sometimes I even do window pulls. And yeah, but this time we have only 6 images. So luminosity masks. I do use Lumenzia, the panel. Really good panel for not only luminosity masks, for so much more. But I almost only use it for luminosity masks actually. But I will start by doing the luminosity masks manually. And the first thing I will do is actually rename my file layers. We'll call the first one base, dark, light, and then I will reorder them. So I will have the base at the bottom, the light on the top, and I will hide these layers behind a black layer mask by holding Option and clicking on the layer mask, which hides them. And we will now create our first luminosity mask. And you do this by, you need a channel palette, channels panel. And if you don't have that, it's under the window and channels. Mine is on the left side. It's just the way I like to work with it. But you can put it whatever you want, of course. And I will start by just holding Command and clicking on this RGB, which will create a selection of the brighter pixels in the image. And then I will just click on this one, which is create channel mask, which creates an alpha 1. I will double click that. And this is a light luminosity mask, the first one, so I will name it L1. I will then hold Command, Option, Shift, and clicking on that L1, which will constrain the mask even more and create another channel mask. I will call this L2. And then I will do the same thing once again. Command, Option, Shift, clicking on L2, create a channel mask. I will name this L3. So now we created 3 light luminosity masks, which you can see the light pixels are the ones that's going to be selected, which I then can paint in my dark layer. But before that, we will also create our dark luminosity mask. So I will do the same thing again. I will click on RGB, holding the Option. This time we want to select the inverted selection. So I will invert the selection by either going to select in the menu and inverse, or you can also click Shift, Command, and I. And I will create that first one. This will be our dark one. Do the same thing like we did before. I will hold Command, Option, Shift, and clicking on D1. Create channel mask, D2. Press Enter. And once again, Command, Option, Shift, clicking on D2. Create the channel mask, D3. What you need to do first is just go back to clicking on RGB to select the image again. I will deselect my selection now by pressing Command and D. Well, so what do we want from this layer? This is the dark layer, and if I disable the layer mask, you can see I get a little more view out the window. Maybe tame some highlights in some places. And the way you can do that is by creating a luminosity mask for the bright layers, the bright pixels, and then paint that in. So I will check my light. If I click on these, as you can see here, there's a lot of pixels that are going to be selected. This is very bright, so I need a little more constrained mask. L2, now we're getting somewhere. I think it's a little too bright in some areas. I will actually paint this manually, so I could get away with this, but I will try the L3. And this looks good. And then I will hold Command and clicking on that L3. I will go back to the RGB. I will select the layer mask on the dark. I will, in this case, press Command and H to hide my marching ants. I will get a brush, white brush, with a kind of a low flow, around 10%. And then I will just start painting where I want that, where I want the layer to come through. Some here, tame the highlights on the floor, the window up here. Get a little more definition even here. Maybe some of this highlight over here, which is kind of cool with the sun coming in, but I will tame that a bit. Yes, I think that's it. One thing I almost always forget is that when I hide my selections like this, it's so easy to just move on and forget that you have your selection still active. If I press Command H again, you can see that it's still active. And if you have Lumenzia, you can actually see it by this little green. The cell button is in green. So if I press Command D to deselect, you can see it goes away. And if I press Command H, nothing happens. So now we are don't have any selection. So I'm pleased with that. Now we want to paint in some of the light pixels from the light area, light layer. As you can see, if I disable the mask, it's quite bright. We don't want anything out the window, but yeah, maybe paint in some. So I will go and check on my dark masks this time. I press on D1. Could be a good candidate. D2, why not? D3, I think it's maybe too constrained. I will start with D2. I will hold Command and press on D2. I will go back to the RGB, and then I will select the layer mask. I will press Command H to hide my marching ants, and then with the same brush, white brush, low flow, I will just start painting in some areas that I like. It's okay to just brush around, and if you think you're brushing too much, you can just press X on your keyboard to go back to a black brush and paint that away. actually try to, I will deselect, and I will also try the D1. I will hold Command and press on D1, Command H to hide the marching ant, and see if I can get a little more in some areas. There you go. I am happy with that. Command D to deselect. Now I will select all these. I will hold Shift and click again on the base to select everyone, all the layers. And then I press Command G to put that in a group. I will call this group ambient. I will actually go into the group, open the group, select light, and then I will create a curves layer adjustment. Above that, I will give it a little contrast, maybe a medium. Yeah, that's good. There you go. So now I will put this in luminosity mode to remove the color from that layer. I will create a layer mask. I will fill that with 50% gray by pressing Shift. Got dark a bit there. But by pressing Shift and in this drop down menu, you can choose 50% gray and click OK. That is the same thing as if I disable that, and as many people do, you put the layer in 50% opacity. But I like to have it at 100% opacity with a 50% gray mask. That gives me a little more flexibility for painting in and out of that layer. I will hide that for now, work and actually drag it down. And then I will work on my flash layers a bit. I will select them all again, selecting the first, holding Shift, clicking the last. I will go to Layer, Arrange, Reverse. It's just the way I like to work. Let's see what we have here. We have the one from the left, the one from the right. I actually don't think I will use the one on the right that much. I don't get enough brightness. I think I could go into camera raw filter and pump it up, but I don't think I need it. So I will actually take that one, put it on top, and hide it behind a black layer mask. Now I only have my left pop and the one that is taken from behind the camera. So I will blend these two. And you can do this in many different ways. I will do it like this. I will create a layer mask, a white layer mask on that layer. I will take the brush, I will have a black brush, go to a flow around 30%, 100% opacity in the flow of 30. Just paint myself out. See. Just paint away. I need something from this. Yeah, I kind of like the. You see the shadows here on the beam. Kind of like that. So I will just take a white brush, maybe 20% flow. Just painting, get some more definition on that one. So that's it, I think. I will again hold Shift, selecting the last one. I will hold Command G to put it in the group. These are my flashes. I will put that under the ambient, and I will enable the ambient file. So now we have in the bottom, we have our combined flashes and on the top we have our ambient file, our blended ambient files in luminosity mode with a 50% gray layer mask, which lets 50% of that layer through. Now we can also just start paint on places where we want some more and where we want some less of these. A good thing with the natural light files are in ceilings. It gives it a lot more natural feel. The flashes has a tendency to create crazy shadows around yeah, beams, and so I will paint in a little bit there. I think maybe on, yeah, lower the flow a bit. Paint here on the top, just to give it some more natural shadows. You shouldn't be afraid of shadows at all. I will paint away where I don't like here. You can see I got a quite hard line. I think I like to soften those. Let's see, I like those natural shadows under the table. What do we have here? I will paint away some from the window. Paint away so you let more of the view through. There you go. Looks good. Looks good. What I usually do with my blends is I usually create a copy of the ambient file. I will put this behind the black mask, and I'll usually name it like color, and put the blending mode in color. Oops. What that does is, as you can see here, this is not a good example, but in some places the natural light, the ambient colors looks better than flash, but in this case it does not. If I put that in normal mode, let's see what's happening there. So this is our blend. This is actually our blended file. When you just work on it, you think it looks kind of good, but if you can compare these two, you can see the colors are way off, and it's a bit hard to tackle. So it's a good thing to use flash sometime, and if you blend it with a lot of ambient, you can get some very natural feel in the image. I do like the yellow in this image because it's caused by the sun. It was a sunny day. The sun was very low, but yeah. So let's see. But maybe we should tame it a little bit. So what I do then is I create a hue saturation adjustment layer. I will go to select color range. I will use the localized cluster. I know there's some yellow on the. I can do this quite broadly because there's a lot of white. So we can, by double masking, we can have some control even afterwards. So let's see if you can see what you like. That's a good thing, I think. So now we selected most of the whites. I will press OK, which will create a layer mask on that hue saturation layer. So I will select the hue saturation. Did I get 2 now? Okay. Did I actually kind of? Maybe I actually just duplicated it. I don't know. So here we have the layer mask. I will select the use saturation, and in this case I will drop the saturation a bit overall, and then I will go to the yellows and drop that even more, which isolates the yellow from everything else. As you can see here, these are the colors that are selected. You can actually, if you want, you can play with these sliders as well. I am pretty pleased with that. So let's put that in a group with the layer selected. I will hold Command G, and then I will create a layer mask on that. I will actually invert the layer mask, so now we have the effect off. So if I hold Shift and clicking on the mask, you can see you can enable and disable it and see where you want. I'm actually going to do like this. I think I will have it selected. I will hold Shift and backspace, go again for a 50% gray, which gives the effect 50%. And then if there's some places I want to remove even more, I can paint white. And I paint black where I want the effect not to be so visible. I will paint it with. There you go. Looks good. I will flatten this. I will press Command Option Shift and L for an auto contrast. I like that little feature. And if you think it's too much, I will hold Command Shift and F, where you can fade the effect you just did. So even change the blend modes if you want to. But I am pleased with that. I will go for a press Command Shift and A to get to my camera raw filter. I will go into my lights. I will press Command U for an auto. Make some adjustments as I see fit. I usually reset the colors from the auto, because I think oftentimes it's it's too much. I think I will straighten the image. As you can see here, it's a little bit the verticals are not straight. I will actually in this case use the guided, and I usually use a Wacom tablet, but in these cases I don't know if I have shaky hands or I don't get the control I want with a pen, so I actually use my mouse in these instances. Shift T to go out of that. Now we will finish this off with I will go to a filter, the collection, color effects. I will use maybe one real estate, which doesn't do that much. It gives it a little punch. I have a little glow to soften like the highlights, a little bit of tonal contrast. And I will press apply. As you can see, there's the effect, and if I want, I can just reduce it by lower the opacity. So I think we're done. It was kind of cool, right? Yeah, let's get to the next one. Same thing. This time I will use Lumenzia instead of creating the luminosity mask myself. I will again rename it to base dark, light, black layer mask, option layer mask. And in this instance, if you remember from the last image, I created some dark and some light luminosity masks, and this is exactly what Lumenzia does. On the right hand side, you have your lights. You have L from L to L6 and D to D6. You can also do luminosity mask from the midtones. There's some zone curves, and yeah, a lot of stuff. But we will keep it simple this time. So I will start. I will have the layer mask on the dark layer selected, and this means I will try to target my highlights. So I will create a light luminosity mask. I will start with L3. You can press these little fellas, or you can drag the sliders for even more control. I think I will go for that. Here you can actually, if you want, you can click the mask, which will create this mask on this layer. But if you want a little more control, you click in the cell for selection. So now, if I click this one, oh, alarm set. Yeah, and if you click on this cell, you can see what is selected, which is the mask. Nothing out of the ordinary. I will select the layer mask with a white brush, kind of a low flow. I'll start painting in those darks, taming the worst of highlights. When I'm happy with that, I can deselect again. Command D. I will go to my lights. Is there anything we want from our lights? And maybe some in the ceiling in the other room. Let's go for a D3. See what that gives us. Maybe even not that. I'll go for a D2. And let's try that. I will press select. White brush. Yeah. Looks good. Again, I will have that selected. I will hold Shift, Command G to group that, ambient. And I will do the same thing as before because it's lacking a bit of contrast. So I will, first of all, here is a good example of what could have happened because it's still selected. I almost forgot to do it. So if I create a curves layer, you can see the selection gets in that layer mask. Not the end of the world, but I will remove that. I will create a new mask, and then I will let's try medium. Let's go for linear. No, medium. Maybe we just drop the opacity to take away a bit of that effect. I will put that on the bottom. We'll select the first flash layer and hold Shift, select the last. I will arrange, and then reverse them. So now let's see what we have here. We have our base flash, which is a flash that is shot behind the camera. I did a right and a left in the first room. and I did a right and a left in the other room. So I will start with these two, and as I said, there's a different ways you can blend these. In this case, I will actually create a layer mask and fill it with 50% gray. So, and then I will paint myself out on both sides. If I paint with white, I'll paint myself out on this side. And then I will switch the brush to black and paint myself out from the other side. See if we can tame those shadows a bit. There's other ways to fix that. I will group these two by holding Shift and selecting the other one, Command G to group it. And then I will put this in lighten mode. As you can see, it's like turning on the lights in another room. It's pretty cool. And as you can see, it's spilling over a bit here on the fireplace, and so what you can do then is you put a white layer mask and you paint with black to paint those areas away. Even here, I think. Create some ugly color sometimes with a lighten layer, so you gotta be careful. Yeah, so now we have that layer there, and now we have these two. I will do the same thing. I think I will put a gray layer mask on those. I do actually have a shortcut for that, for an action, which is in my case Shift F3. Does the exact same thing. Saves me a couple of milliseconds. I will paint myself out. I will just switch to black. See if there's something I would like to remove from the other side. No. Let's see, I would also like to see, yeah. I am thinking about the fire in the fireplace. I think that was the best fire was in one of the ambient files, so we'll take a look at that later. And then I will put, in this case, I will duplicate the base flash. We'll put that on top. I will put a black mask on that. I will duplicate it. I will change the blending mode to darken. I can rename that. So with this layer, I can start with the darken. See if what happens if I disable the mask. You see on the fireplace, there's a hotspot that I would like to get rid of. This layer will do that trick for me. Not much I can use it for in the joining room and the living room, because when it gets all dark again. So I will just paint white on this area to remove that hotspot. Maybe with a low, I can just tap. I'll go for like 4%. Just tap a little of that highlighter in the ceiling, which I think the ambient layer will actually help us with. Go for the normal layer, see what that's something we want here. The difference between those two is that if it's in darken mode, none of the lighter pixels are going through, but in the normal mode it does. So don't have any obvious shadows that is bothering me, so it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I will select these. This is our new flash layer. Flash. I will put that underneath the ambient layer, which is still in normal mode. As you can see here, you have the nicer fire. I will start by putting this in ambient mode, luminosity blend mode. I will create a mask, gray layer mask. Let's see if there's something more I want. Actually, a little. It's aligned, no? Yeah. You see that? I should have aligned them from the start. Let's see, can we do that now? Alright, just for the fuck of it, I will remove that layer mask. I will actually flatten these two just this time. I'm pressing Command E, and then I will do it like this instead. I will select both layers, and we will go to, let's see, align. No. Oh God, image. Edit. There you go. Auto align layers. Auto. Okay. So now it's better. So I will, this is still in luminosity. I will put the gray layer mask on that. I will see if there's some areas we want some more ambient. I kind of like that in the living room. The sun peeking in, painting some more on that wall. I think from the lamp. I think we also should paint away some of the ambient from the fireplace to remove those ugly hot spots. So now, and here's a good use of what I said before. I usually duplicates the ambient layer in color mode behind the black layer mask, and as you can see, you can paint in some more of that fire. It's pretty cool, huh? I don't want the whole thing because it looks terrible, but fire is a good thing. It's the color. What happens if I put this in normal mode? I will do both. I will duplicate it once again, put that in normal mode, see if it gives me something else. Okay, so now my Photoshop is acting up. There you go. Yeah. Maybe lower the opacity just a bit. There's before, there's after. I like that. Creates, I can do it like this. I will put that the layer mask because I think it creates a little blue color that I can just paint away here. We're only interested in the fire and the color of the fire. I will flatten that. I will press F9 for my Nick color effects, the one I did before. Manually, I have a shortcut for that. Punches it, softens it in the highlights. I will maybe reduce the opacity. I will flatten this again. I will do the Command, Option, Shift, and L for my auto contrast. Maybe reduce it just a bit. I will press Command, Shift, and F. Go for like, yeah, let's go for 50%. That's okay. I will press Command, Shift, A for camera raw. I will go to the lights. I will press Command U for an auto. Does not happen that much. I will reset the colors. I will do a vertical straightening. I will turn on the light again. And then I will press OK. Do we have any colors we want to get rid of? Maybe these ones. We have some yellow over here as well. So I will go for a I will do the same thing. I have a shortcut for that as well. Which creates a hue and saturation layer. Selects the color range picker, and I will start clicking. I will click with the eyedropper, hold Shift to add to the selection. I'll do it like this. I think. Let's do everything again. All of this. Maybe even the cabinet here. Let's see. Press OK. And in this case, in this action, it's actually recorded some numbers here. The saturation down 45, and also the sorry, this one, the yellows down by 30. And just press OK, and it will create that mask as well. So as you can see here, I'll put that on and off. Maybe I will reduce the opacity just a bit to get some more natural color. Flatten it. Send that off to a client. Go for the next one. This time I will actually I recorded an action for the first steps, which pauses for when it's time to brush in the on the ambient files. When it's time to brush, you'll see what I mean. It's called prep. Full prep is this one. It does the same thing. It renames the layers and puts them behind a black mask. It it selects L3, I think, L4, and yeah. Actually, for the dark, if there's nothing else I want in the images from the dark layer than the windows, I can actually do a little more manual selection, selecting the only thing I'm selecting is the view from the window, and then I can tweak that a bit, but I won't do that now. This is good as it is, so I will just press continue, which will keep on going, and then make that selection. Load the brush. It tells me that it's time to brush. I will press Command H to hide the selection. Just start brushing in some of the areas I want. As you can see here again, this is the areas that are selected, the whites, and yeah, the lighter gray, of course, also can be painted in with some violence, with some hard brushing. So. This is what I've painted. And now I am in button mode, but in these actions I need to be in the other mode, and then because it stops here, but the action continues, so I will just press play, and now it will select the darker pixels that I should brush. So I will press Command H to hide the selection, paint in some more of the brighter areas. And in this action, you're not bound to not do anything else. The action is stopped now, so if you want, you can deselect that. You maybe need another selection. You can do that. You make a selection out of that mask. You can paint with that as well, if you don't think the other one is enough. So when I'm done, I will press play again, and now it actually groups it. It creates a curves layer. It duplicates it, the color one, and puts that on the bottom, and it reverses the flash layers as well. So now I start working on the flash layers. I think this one is pretty cool because it mimics a little bit of light coming from the windows. So I will use most of that, I think. So I will put that behind a white mask. I will load a black brush, low flow, 10%, and you can see paint away the areas over here where the obvious hotspot is. Yeah. Make sure not to paint myself in. Happens all the time. As you can see, well, that's what I talked about earlier with the beams, the flashes. Can make some crazy shadows. Then I will go back to the button mode to use another neat little action, move base flash. What that does, it's hiding one instance of it, duplicates it, puts it on top in the normal mode, duplicates it, puts it in darken mode and the black layer masks. So now I will just start, I think actually, because, yeah, let's see. These flashes is mostly for these areas here where we need some light, and actually it's kind of dark in the other room. Let's see if we can get a low flow and just dab a little out in here to soften the shadows from the flashes. Oh, maybe way too much. We also have an ambient layer we can put our trust in. Yes. Anything from the darkened layer? No, just hides the light in the other room. So now it's time to enable the ambient layers and put that on top. And also I will, let's see, post flash, that's the one. It puts them on top, one with the 50% gray, the other one is behind the black matte, and this is a duplicate of the flash layers in darken mode, just to be able to paint in some highlights and just to be safe. Kind of like this. It's a bit soft, but you can play with the contrast. Get the natural feel in the ceiling. Natural shadows. I paint in more of that ambient. Kind of like that. As you can see under the table, there's lacking a little bit of color. Let's see if there's some. No, there's no color there. This is the darkened layer, as you can see. Little that as well. Maybe, painting that shadow so it doesn't look so desaturated. Right. About the colors, same thing. Press F5 to go to my color range picker. See if we want to remove some yellows. Yeah, from the chairs as well. That's nice. Lower the opacity to around like 70%. No, let's do it like this. I will make 50% gray layer mask, and then I will paint a little more where I want to remove more. I think I see a little bit of blue over here as well, so I will create another one. The action is set to target the yellows. So when I do this, it will lower the saturation on the master and on the yellow. But what I can do is I hold Option, and this button turns to reset, and I click that, and it will reset it to no values at all. And then I would click this little hand and check. No, it was the yellows as well. Right. Play tricks on me. I thought it was no blues. Oh, good enough. We'll flatten that. Go for my neck color effects. Flatten it again. Auto contrast, Command Shift Option Shift L. Pretty good, maybe 80%. Command Shift A for camera raw. The lights, Command U for auto. I will remove the colors that is added. I will pump up the exposure a bit, maybe lower the blacks, straighten it. Looks kind of crooked. Do a guided, even this time with the mouse. Maybe that's better. also show you a neat little trick from Lumenzia. We have some buttons here, and if I press Shift and click on this Sat for saturation, it actually make a layer mask of the most saturated parts of the image, which is pretty cool because I can then use the adjustment layer to remove that to even out in the image. Can even remove some of the lights from it, the lightness from it. Not too obvious in this image, but there are many times when you can see very saturated colors. So that's a good, neat little trick. All right. Now I go even faster for this last one. I will do the same. I will prep the full prep. Let's go. Command H to hide the marching ants. Even though the flashes most of the time, if you take notice, you can get a lot of views out the windows without window pulls. And I think it blends a little bit better if there's some areas even in the ambient file. So it doesn't have to look great, but I think it blends a little better when there's some areas outside. And as I said before, you don't have to be done here. If you think that you need to do something else, you make another layer mask, luminosity mask, and paint more of the darks in. You can of course do that even in this layer. Let's see if we can just, I think it was the same mask actually. Yeah, I will press play to continue the action. Let's see, it's selected. It's kind of a dark in this room, so yeah, let's see, we'll press continue. Now we have our little flash pop in the kitchen. I'll actually do it like this. I will make a rough selection out of that. I will make a mask. And then I will put that in screen. Should it be lighting? Screen, 90% opacity. There you go. We'll blend these two with a gray layer mask. Then high flow, doesn't matter. Oh, hello. There you go. base flash. See what I can paint in. Remove some. I like those shadows because they look natural coming from the windows there. But right. Strong. Let's go for medium. Just a tad, I think. A little definition in it. I will let some more of the ambient in there. I don't want anything from that. Yeah. Maybe just a tad. Even here. Tame that highlight a bit from under the washer. Dishwasher. That's the name. Was actually in the frame, it was soft. It was flatten that. F9 for color effects. Bam. Auto contrast. Camera raw. Auto. Set colors. Yeah, let's try that one again. I think get a little bit distracted on some of the books there. Yeah, as you can see, they're actually saturated. So I will select the hue saturation layer and tame that down a bit. Perfect. So there we have it. So we took a little manual approach, half manual, then just some actions with luminosity mask built in. There's so many ways you can do this. This will obviously take a little more time, but the control is a little bit better. So if you, it's not for every job that I do, but yeah, for some. So over and out. If you like this, please subscribe. If you liked it, why not a thumbs up? If you wondering about everything and about everything, yeah, I wonder about everything. If you're wondering about anything, just leave a comment, send me a message on Instagram or whatever. See you in the next one. Take care.